Through this video series, we're going to explore the 37 practices of Bodhisattva, text written by Gyalse Togme Zangpo, and in Tibetan that is called the Gyalse Laklen Sodunma. So the 37 practices of Bodhisattva is a very profound practice. The purpose of this is to give an illumination of what a Bodhisattva does once they have made this vow to help all sentient beings. So the bodhicitta that was developed in the cultivation of this vow to achieve enlightenment, this path that the Bodhisattva takes, the bodhicitta eventually dictates every movement, every thought, every blink of the eye, every resting of the head. Everything is done with the purpose of benefiting others. At its most developed, it's the state of a Buddha, in which all purposes have been met, those of the self and those for all other beings. Now, it's, a lot of people say, well, if Buddha had this great compassion that he supposedly helped all sentient beings, then why is suffering still there? Think of it as living near a huge forest. And the forest is deadly. There's all sorts of wild animals that will attack you and eat you and so on. And think of the Buddha as one who has macheted his way through the thick brushes and has created a safe path that the wild animals will not come to. He's put up, guardrails and so on, and this path takes you from one side to the other side safely. So the path has been made, and the path is there. But you have to, tread that path yourself. Just because the Buddha created that path to get to the other side and to arrive completely beyond all suffering doesn't mean that on this side, the appearance of suffering doesn't still exist. So you have to really contemplate and think of that one. And there are, in the doctrine of the two truths, we also look at what is called relative bodhicitta and absolute bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta is when you have that great compassion for beings, the beings that you see in front of you, that it appears to be a human, or it appears to be a hell being, or it appears to be an animal. But ultimately, at its core, it is totally pure. It is a Buddha that has not yet been realized yet. So from the ultimate state, the ultimate truth is the direct perception of emptiness, the seeing that all things lack any concrete existence from their own side. And this is a difficult topic. And the first line in the 37 practices of Bodhisattva starts off by saying Namo Lokeshwaraya. This is a praise to, Lokeshwaraya is another name for Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. And he says, you see all phenomena neither come nor go, still you strive solely for the benefit of beings. Supreme Guru and Protector Chenrezig, to you I continually bow with body, speech, and mind. And here is making an indication that Chenrezig is an Arya. He sees that, that beings neither come nor go, meaning that there are ultimately no beings. Mark doesn't ultimately exist. Mark only appears to exist in the form that we're labeling Mark. But, where will that consciousness, that stream of consciousness go to, and what form will it take in the next lifetime, in the next lifetime, in the next lifetime? So, though Chenrezig is an Arya, and though this love radiates outward as a source of love, it still is able to recognize that we're trapped in this illusion, and we think it's very, very real. And that's the source of all of our suffering, is that I think that I truly exist, and I think this reality truly exists. Now, these two perspectives in Tibetan are called Dakzin and Denzin. Dakzin means I'm grasping at a self, and Denzin means I'm grasping at this reality as if it's real. It means truth grasping. meaning that looks like a pillar. It really looks like a pillar of bricks, but it isn't ultimately a pillar of bricks. If we come back thousands of years from now, that pillar is going to be nothing but dust and so on. And the dispersion of all of those molecules and so on throughout the world is, it's there's nothing brickness or there's nothing pillarness about it. It is this temporary configuration. So Chenrezig is this source of love that radiates it out in every direction and through all realms. So the Buddha of compassion is able to see what Mark thinks he sees, the suffering that Mark thinks he's going through, and he's going to have compassion and love for that mistaken view, as well as the love he has for my ultimate nature. Now the next line says, the perfect Buddhas, the source of benefit and happiness, arise from practicing the genuine Dharma, which in turn depends on knowing how to practice. So here I'll explain the Bodhisattva practices. So it's important also, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Westerners don't understand the importance of study. And in Tibetan, the word for, one of these three trainings that we go through the trainings of listening, analysis, and meditation. And listening, tipa, in Tibetan tipa, means to listen. It's like to listen to the teachings, the oral lineage, and so on, to study what these teachings mean. So tipa can be translated as study. And in Tibetan language, there's a say that one of the teachings of the Buddha was Tepe chenam shepargyur, Tepe ditle dopargyur, Tepe dunma yimpa pong, Tepe nyangen depa to. This means through study we come to understand phenomena. Through study we turn away from negative actions. Through study we abandon the meaningless. And through study we reach nirvana. So Buddha explained how important study and reflection is. You study the Dharma, you come to try to understand and analyze it, and then meditate and develop good, strong concentration. These are the three trainings of all Buddhists: monks, nuns, lay practitioners, and so on. And the opposite, or I should say, let's start with the source of all suffering is ignorance, not knowing, not understanding how reality actually functions. The opposite of ignorance is wisdom. And so when you introduce wisdom into a situation, the ignorance diminishes. And when the ignorance diminishes, so too does the suffering. So if you completely eliminate ignorance, you completely eliminate suffering. How do you eliminate ignorance? Through wisdom. That's what Togme Zangpo is saying here. That's how we're going to eliminate the ignorance. So the first line actually in the body of the practices, the first practice, in Tibetan the word for practice is Lakmen. That's why this is called Gyalse, means literally means an heir or a son of the victor. It's a poetic word for Bodhisattva. Laklen means practice, and Sodun means that it's a shortened version of 37. Sodun Ma, and the Ma is a feminine particle, usually given to wisdom texts. So this is Gyalse Laklen Sodun Ma, means the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva. Daojo Druchen Nyeka Top Du Dir, Dashen Korwe Tsole Jalche Chir, Nyendan Sendu, Yawa Mepa Ni, Nyensen Gompa, Gyalse Laklen Nyen. And so Daojo Druchen means like this great boat, this great fortunate boat of fortune. And it's referring to your human life. This precious human rebirth that we're given is the boat that's very difficult to find. And this boat helps us to get across the ocean of samsara. Dakjen means the self and others. Korwe Tsole, from the ocean of samsara. Dralje Chir means in order to be freed from the ocean of samsara, this time, this precious human birth that we have, this boat, this great fortunate boat, So they're making the reference poetically here as the human being is the boat that we are using to, sail through the ocean of samsara, the ocean of suffering. Then it says Nyendan Sendu, which means day and night. Nyen is day, Sen is night. Nyendan Sendu, Yawar Mepar Ni means so without the distractions, without interruption, day and night. Nyen Sem Gom, Nyen Sem Gompa. Nyen means to listen, Sem means to contemplate or to think, and Gom means to meditate. Gyalse La Nyen means this is the practice of a Bodhisattva. So we practice listening, reflecting, and meditating on the Dharma day and night without distraction. Now that we have this precious human rebirth, now that we have this wonderful opportunity, human intelligence can really penetrate with wisdom, with human intuition and intelligence, penetrate through the clouds of ignorance of reality. As your teacher explains, that things do not possess any essence from their own side, and you look at them and you try to find that essence, try to find that thing that doesn't change, that doesn't transform, that is concrete and is self-powered. You're never going to find it. And so the more you analyze and look at your reality, the less it has a triggering effect to the brain's or the mind's overestimation of how much danger, how much threat, or how much joy, how much lasting happiness something has at you, rather than because of you. So this practice, this first practice, is a call to look at the life that you have. Are you using it dharmically? Are you using it in a way that's going to be of benefit to yourself and others, to help overcome these sufferings that are surround us? Use the Dharma to, as Buddha said, Tepe Nyang and Depato, meaning by listening we can achieve nirvana, which is the complete exhaustion of the mental afflictions, the emotional obstacles. So this is a good practice to think about when you're contemplating these 37 practices as we go through this, and take some time with it. This is not one of those practices, and I think I'm going to try to keep myself from getting the content up onto social media, but like a week at a time. Spend a week really analyzing this first line and thinking about this precious life that we have. Am I using it, or am I, as Shanti Deva would say, a walking corpse? Are we really spending time trying to develop the muscle of the mind? Are we working on developing concentration, single-pointed concentration that takes us through the gross consciousness and through the fog of sleepy dullness and the dream state, to where we arrive lucidly and single-pointedly in deeper states of awareness? This is what our practice is. So it's really difficult to get past the surface of meditation sometimes, being, even while I've been here, you've probably heard cars and trucks driving by out on the road. But to take a retreat and go away and disappear for a while and get into your own mind and develop a more pristine, subtle awareness, this is part of the training. This is part of the 6 perfections. So hope this helps you, and I hope that this really ignites you to put in the effort to study, to listen to oral teachings by these great masters that are alive today, like mine, Geshe Chinpa Sonam, or the Dalai Lama, and to reflect on them, analyze them, and then develop really, really strong, unshakable concentration.